All right, ladies and gents, let's get this. Here we are doing some more Roblox game development for Trench to Trench, my World War One game. So we are here going to give the AI, and we're using Codex. We have it all set up. We're going to give it a long request to make enemy NPC waves of enemies that are wearing uniforms from my set of Army German military uniforms, and all of the uniforms are arranged by role, right? Lieutenant, all the way up, all the different roles in the Army and the military. And what we want is, hopefully, there would be, all the roles going up with increasing difficulty and that kind of thing. But I was lucky enough that it even just dressed them up properly using the templates of the German military uniforms. That it did do. I also asked it to make waves of enemies. I asked it to, and here you see it like testing in the background. This is the one crazy thing with AI, is that this one's maybe running too much. It maybe gets stuck on something. But I asked it to not only dress them up, but to use the appropriate guns from the game that the player uses, because I wasn't sure, I probably should have checked, but I wasn't sure the AI NPC enemy that came with the ACS system, there's 3 or 4 different NPC characters, which gun it was given, right? And we want to stick with just the World War One game, World War One guns that we're using in the game that are verified to have already been in the World War One environment. So M1 Garand, someone pointed out, that's not a World War One gun. We got to take that out. We got to make sure that everything here is history, period, authentic. And so the AI is going to spawn these enemies. I already had a spawning system, so I told it, here's my initial spawning system. Dress them up as German soldiers with the outfits that we have, and I need them to spawn in as waves. And I had a whole lengthy, if you pause it somewhere, you can see I had this whole lengthy thing about, some of them I want to attack and retreat and work together, and some of them I want them to stay in the trench. Now, that role system we're going to have to work on as we go, especially them working together and whatnot, and retreating and attacking. But for one, they have to be limited to not advance up to the spawn point. There has to be a point at which they do not come up. And probably, actually, well, you would still need that, but you should run in and trigger a point. Right now, I don't know where the trigger is. I haven't looked into the code that far, but they are spawned right away, and so I guess they're triggered right away, whatever. Once you kill the first 3 guys, it, in a couple seconds later, is going to spawn another 3, and it drops the guns. So here it still says E. We need that to be V. It does say V in the subtext underneath that giant E that you see there, but you can pick up the player's guns. We also had to tell the AI, make sure the guns are facing the right way. And then the waves were not, here we say make the thing say V properly. The waves were not really working right off the bat. So I just kept telling the AI, do it again, try it again, get the waves working. So it had something that it was catching where the waves, where it was dropping the enemies, was out of bounds or something, and so the waves were stopping. So I'm not sure if the waves just go on forever, but as I would have told it in the prompt, you need to hit the next wave a bit further up at the next area so that you can advance through the map. And so it does this, but not immediately can I really actually see that that's working, because it was spawning them out of bounds. So I kept asking it, hey, is this really working? And then it said, oh, we caught the fact that it was spawning them out of bounds or something like that. So I guess, after it was all said and done, The wave generator now, you get about 5 waves before they get stuck out of bounds or something, but they are still being generated. So I need to go maybe look at that manually or have the AI explain it. You know, when you're doing this AI stuff and you can't get it, you have to say, without making any changes, because that's how you can make sure that it doesn't do anything. Without making any changes, explain this to me. Can you figure out why this is the case? Here, there was some sort of glitch. I don't know why. I thought something was majorly buckled, but the snow wasn't working properly and the gun wasn't showing. But that was just a temporary glitch. I just had to close everything and reopen it again. I don't know what that was. But yeah, in terms of the wave generator, it was just, I mean, you stop and see the map, you know, with the tank, with the steam coming off it. It's really cool. The sounds when you shoot the tank are really amazing, actually. The ACS system is so cool. Whoever made that, big props. If I ever make a bunch of money, I'm going to have to give this guy some money because it's so nice that he put that out there and allows me to be creative. And so I don't know what's going on in this video edit right now. There was that bug. Never seen it before, never seen it since, but had me thinking that my project was messed up or something, which is not good. Anyway, so we're back in the game. We're gonna go, and here I'm just testing waves. This is sort of a video that I had delayed a little bit. I put out the other one ahead of it, so we're kind of jumping back in time for a second. But here we are testing the enemies. You know, at some point I told the system, add headshot ability, because you could pop your head up and they wouldn't shoot at you. So detect another ray trace from the enemy to your head only. And if they detect just the head ray trace, make the aiming a little less accurate, right? So then, you know, as we move on here, I'm going to go in the terrain, and I was on transform, so I was like, what's going on here? And I guess I had squished some terrain, but you actually need to be in the select menu. So I was in transform and it wasn't deleting. So you got to go into select and delete. Now I had tried this on mobile, and you know, people, maybe kids or whoever has like some cheaper phones. I'm on an S21, which is not even like, that's like a 5-year-old phone. And it seems to be working fine. I'm sure the terrain system is heavily optimized, but there's just so much here that I have in this development level that I don't need that much voxels, if it's a voxel system that is working on here. That is the underground there, like you don't dig underground, so we don't need that. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim off a whole bunch of stuff off the bottom of that, and hopefully that helps, because that's a lot of data that it has to load every time. So I didn't do it right away because I want to see worst case, like if it's actually affecting the system. But as we go on with making the map, I do want to trim that. I don't know how long the map is going to be, so you know, it should be, can it go on and on and on? I can just generate more map, presumably. Like this was all just generated, but the map is not gonna backtrack back there, so we'll go ahead and delete some of that. We'll shave some off the bottom, and we're back to testing. Sorry it's sped up so much, but we're just doing a lot of testing. We're looking out at the other waves, and I'm going around looking for more players. And add a feature to a mobile where when you click on an enemy, it shoots at the enemy. This I tried because I thought today I should actually have an auto aim, maybe, so that it helps you shoot at the enemy. But then I played through it once and I was able to aim at the enemy kind of just fine. But you know, if you're running through a map and you're running and gunning, it would be nice to have an auto aim. But first I had tried this feature, and I feel bad that I see now that you know, I had to make a couple attempts to make it work, because I did get it working and I stripped it out. I stripped it out because the look joysticks are too sensitive, and if you tap outside of the look joysticks, you get the look functionality where it's not that sensitive. So I wanted that look functionality back where it's not that sensitive, And so I stripped out the tapping on an enemy. But the tapping on an enemy, the enemies are so far away and small, and your fingerprint is so big that it wasn't really the move. So I started here looking into, how can I use Open AI Cloud, whatever, to automatically paste this? Because I started getting into using Codex. And with Codex, I want it on my phone, and I got it set up now to just publish after I'm done. But that's it. Stay tuned for more. Peace.